Hey, Sporty Shorty.
Hey, what's
How you
going
doing
on?
today?
I'm all right. How you doing?
All right. Happy Friday.
Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday.
Finally, happy Friday, everybody.
Yes. All
Yeah.
right. So I'm looking forward to this week's installment of the World of Sports. What you got for us
Yes,
today?
around the world of sports. We're going to start off with boxing. That happened last weekend. I mentioned it in the last video. Shakur Stevenson versus Robson Conceição. The fight has since happened. Uh, Dominant performance by Shakur Stevenson, which I expected.
Indeed. Indeed.
Unanimous decision. He dropped him at the end of the fourth round, but couldn't finish him off. The fight went the distance. I wanted him to get the knockout.
Yeah.
He didn't get the knockout, but the knockout doesn't always come.
Yeah.
He had a tough opponent, but he had an opponent that wanted to grab and hold and use his head and, do
Oh,
some...
yeah.
Yeah.
The theatrics.
He had a lot of theatrics. That's a good term.
A lot of theatrics.
A lot of theatrics. He was just trying to get through the fight. He wasn't trying to win the fight. He was trying not to get knocked out. But
Well, he was successful there.
he was successful there. He made it to the end, but I give him credit for being tactical in the ring. He had a lot of maneuvers, veteran maneuvers that kept him from getting knocked out. But I don't think you go into a fight just trying to not get knocked out. You go in trying to win.
Right.
I think early on the fight he was probably trying to win, but I think as the fight went on, Shakur was getting at him.
Yeah,
And he realized he wasn't going to win.
He went into survival mode.
Shakur's a different caliber fighter.
There you go.
So, Shakur, he had a good showing. Even though he didn't get the knockout, he still dominated. So I was happy he got that. Another thing during that event, Keyshawn Davis, who was on the undercard, he fought Omar Tienda, got a 5th round knockout, TKO. I like this kid. I like this kid. He knows how to finish. I like that. I always like that in fighters that I root for. He knows how to finish the deal. And he's impressive. He's young. I think he's 23, 24 years old. I think he's 23. Impressive though, out of Virginia. I'm looking forward to great things from him. Undefeated fighter early in his career, but I don't know. He's got some dog in him. He's tough, and he finished right.
All right.
He finished right. So
We'll be keeping an eye on him.
Keyshawn Davis, look out for him.
All right.
Very, very talented kid. Next we're gonna move on to baseball. Aaron Judge.
All right.
He tied Roger Maris with 61 home runs. He tied the American League record.
On track to break.
On track to break the record tonight against the Baltimore Orioles. So stay tuned for that. Tonight they play the Baltimore Orioles. He might break the record tonight. So that would be historic. He doesn't have the most home runs ever hit in a season, but to me, if he breaks this record tonight, to me, he's the champ. Because those other guys, they were involved in that steroid era. Me personally, I don't count that.
Okay.
I don't count that. They might have more home runs than him at this point, but he's doing it the right way.
Okay.
So to me, he's going to be the guy.
All right.
That's just my opinion. Say what you got to say about that, but that's my opinion. He's going to be the real champ when it comes to that.
And feel free to sound off
And
down
you can
below
sound
in the
off down
comments
below if you disagree. If you believe it's Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, however you feel. Those guys supposedly took steroids. That's what they're saying. That's what's believed to be true. To me, you can't. There's always going to be an asterisk next to those guys' names to me. So, Aaron Judge apparently is doing it the right way. So, him and Roger Maris right now, those are the guys.
Okay.
Moving on, the Pittsburgh Steelers going to football now. In the news, it's been reported that their offensive coordinator, Mike Canada, he's on a hot seat when it comes to a lot of offensive players on the team. Apparently, they want him fired. Mike Tomlin's going to have some tough decisions to make on his team. If you got a guy that's not getting the job done, and the players on the team don't really want him there, it's going to be hard to keep him.
That's a hard thing.
It's going to be very hard. They got wide receiver Chase Claypool that already said that he doesn't see what the identity is on the team. You're 3 or 4 games into the season and you don't know the identity of the team.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, that's harsh. That's harsh. You would think you would know the identity of your team in training camp. You know, at this point in the season, it's early in the season, but still we into the season.
Right.
You should know what the identity of your team is. I don't blame Mike Tomlin. He's one of my favorite coaches, if not my favorite coach. You know, I believe in how he runs his team. So I'm not going to blame him at this point. But the offense has not looked good. He may have to move on from Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. They're saying this guy, Kenny Pickett, the rookie they have on their team, they're saying he's a good quarterback. He looked good in preseason. You might have to give him a shot, Mike. You might have to give him a shot. You know, so we'll see what happens with the Steelers in terms of who their starting quarterback is going to be, if it's going to continue to be Mitch, or if they're going to move on to Kenny Pickett. Remains to be seen.
And remains to be seen
what he does with Matt Canada, the OC of the team. We don't know what's going to happen with that, but if you got majority of players on your offensive side saying they don't want him there, you might have to move on from him. You know, you can't please the coordinator and piss off most of your offensive players if that's the case. So that's a sticky subject. So we'll see what Mike Tomlin does about that. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-2, so you got to make a move soon. Something's got to change.
Yeah.
Moving on, tight end Thaddeus Moss from LSU might get a job with the New England Patriots.
Okay.
If the name sounds familiar, that is Randy Moss's son, who was a Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Patriots and the Minnesota Vikings. You know, he was phenomenal, one of the best wide receivers of all time. If his son has even half of the game that his father has, he should be able to get a job.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. That would be nice. So good for him. I'm not a Patriots fan, but I was a fan of Randy Moss. So props to him and props to his son. Hopefully he's able to get a spot. He had to work out with the Patriots earlier this week.
Okay.
So hopefully
We'll see what comes of that.
see what comes.
Okay.
I'm not going to dwell on that. That's where that is. But I want to talk about the Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals last night. The Bengals won 27, Dolphins 15. That's not the real story. Tua Tagovailoa got hurt again. Last week, if you watched my video, I said that he looked like he was concussed. He shouldn't have come back in the game after halftime.
On Sunday.
Last Sunday. He got hurt in the second quarter of last week's game. Looked concussed to me. Shouldn't have come back in the game. They brought him back in the game in the third quarter. I thought that was a mistake. Thought it was very irresponsible. He says he was okay. They had a short week because they played last night, which was Thursday.
Right.
So they didn't even have a full week.
For him to recover.
Apparently, what was reported is that he had a back injury and an ankle injury.
Which, in any event, if that was the case, again, short week,
Short week.
enough time to recover.
Right, short week, and what looked like he was concussed on Saturday. I don't care what's being reported.
Sunday.
Oh, sorry, Sunday. It looks like he was concussed. In addition to a back injury and an ankle injury, you decided to play him on Thursday, which was yesterday. I honestly don't think he should have even been playing yesterday as well.
Exactly.
He wanted to say he was okay. He was apparently cleared. But he got hurt again. He got slammed to the ground, hit his head again. reported head and neck injury. He didn't get up this time. He stayed down.
Gosh.
And the most bizarre thing about this is his hands seized up. I've never seen this before. His hands looked like they were temporarily paralyzed. And I don't even want to use that word, but that's what it looked like. His hands were frozen, and they were they were like this, pointed out, and it was
Like a spasm.
like a spasm. It looked like a spasm, but it looked like temporary paralysis.
Right.
It looked bad. I was shaking watching this game. Like, just watching that injury, I was shaking, and it was hard for me to continue to watch that game, to be honest with you. All his teammates, rallied around him, came out, and you could even see on their faces how distraught they were.
Right.
And shout to the Cincinnati fans, because they chanted his name, and a lot of times you don't see that when it's an opposing team.
Right.
But the Cincinnati fans, they were very classy. But it was hard to watch. It was very hard to watch. He had to be carted off and taken to the hospital. Good news is that he was conscious. He was able to move all of his extremities. He had feeling in his extremities. And gladly, he was able to be discharged from the hospital last night and was able to go back to Miami with his team. Again, these teams need to have independent doctors. I don't really trust these team doctors because it's in their best interest to get these players back on the field.
Right.
I'm pretty sure some of these doctors are very responsible, but I'm pretty sure there's a handful of them that are not very responsible. There should be independent doctors. I'm glad that the NFL Players Association is going to do a thorough investigation into this and see if there's any legal ramifications or anything that they can do to really find out what's going on in the Miami Dolphins organization when it comes to their medical staff.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so that's a stay tuned situation as this investigation goes on, but he shouldn't have been out there last night as far as I'm concerned. He shouldn't have been out there. You got to protect these players. And I give these players credit for being able to play after that, because that's got to be hard, especially for the Dolphin players. Like, you see this guy go down and you don't know what's going on because you're there playing the game. It's football. It's a rough sport. It's rough. I enjoy it, but it's rough. But I give credit to those guys for going out there and risking their lives. I'm gonna move on from that though, because it's just somber to me.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, my Knicks start next season.
Oh, boy.
I mean, next
Is that
week.
why you got
next
that
week.
big old smile on your
Yeah.
face? We hardly ever see you smile.
My Knicks start preseason next week
Oh, my goodness.
on Tuesday, October 4th. They will be playing the Detroit Pistons.
Boy, did they light you up, huh?
Yeah, I've been waiting for my Knicks season to start. Granted, it's just preseason. They say the games don't count. It doesn't count against your record, but to me, all games count. You get to see your players out there and see how they perform. So I'm excited about Tuesday evening.
Do they ever have open practice?
I don't know. I don't think they did that this year. If they did, I'm not aware. But yeah, October 4th.
Okay.
New York Knicks up against Detroit. Looking forward to that.
I can see that.
Yes, looking forward to that. Been waiting for the NBA season to start, specifically the Knicks.
So we know that's your favorite
So
sport,
it's my favorite sport
your favorite team.
and my favorite team. Yeah, long-time Knicks fan.
Okay.
Another thing that I want to mention, last thing I want to mention, Jamal Crawford, who used to be a former Knick, one of my favorite players of all time, is getting a job with TNT.
Really?
On Tuesday nights. He's replacing Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade has decided to move on, and Dwayne Wade is part owner of the Utah Jazz, and he has other businesses. He wants to focus on his businesses.
Okay.
So Jamal Crawford's getting a job.
Shout out to Jamal Crawford.
Big shout out to Jamal Crawford.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
He deserves an applause.
Yes. That's wonderful news.
Jamal Crawford, class act.
Okay.
Class act, Seattle native. Played for the Knicks for a number of years. one of the best handles in the game. I honestly think he could still play right now. He stays in shape. I still think he could give people buckets in the NBA right now. You know, unfortunately, no one picked him up. I never understood that. I think he could be on somebody's bench right now. But he's moving on. He's getting a job with TNT. I'm happy for him. He's going to be on there with Shaq and Candace Parker and Adam Lefkoe.
Okay.
So good for Jamal Crawford.
Good for Jamal Crawford.
Shout out to him.
All right.
That's all I got for today.
Okay.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe.
Share with your community.
Yes, indeed.
And if you have anything you want to discuss, let's chop it up in the comments below.
Some of the things I mentioned could be very opinionated. It can be different sides to it. I'm open to hearing other sides. So if you got a different take or you got a similar take, let me know.
All right. And on that note, a good weekend to all, and we'll see you on...
Enjoy your weekend, and
we'll see you on Wednesday for week 4 of the NFL.
Yes.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Peace.